numbers told the story. They always do.
It's one of those idiots who believe in analytics.
This is a numbers game with Gill Alexander on VSiN.
Good Monday morning to you. It is a numbers game at VSiN, the sports betting network, VSiN.com, Game Plus, iHeartRadio, YouTube TV. However you're taking us in, we appreciate it. It's Gill Alexander. It's Kelley Bydlon, live from Bar Canada here at the D. Kelley, good morning to you, sir.
Good morning. How's it going? How was Cali?
Cali was great, but I was wading through
with the
EDM stragglers downstairs.
Oh, yeah. It's been entertaining every morning.
I am walking by myself, laughing out loud through them.
Drugs are abundant in Las Vegas this weekend.
It's just, and I feel like saying to all of them, you know, you guys are 15 years behind when this was actually cool and hip, right? And now you're just paying exorbitant amounts. I didn't say anything, though. Marlon, the valet downstairs, is very upset. He says they're not giving him $1 in tips. He's like, in and out, in and out, in and out. They don't give me anything.
Brutal.
He's very upset.
And it's busy. It's been busy down there, too. I don't know. I mean, this is. I mean, we're up early. Obviously, we're up early out here in Vegas, but still 6, 7 a.m. every morning. The past 3 days, I've seen a group of we're driving in downtown. I saw a group of 6 people just stumbling down the street, still in festival clothing. I'm like, man, you should get somewhere safe home.
It's all turned out well for all of them, I'm sure. Yeah. The NBA, we must begin there. We will. Mike Somich will join us later. He's got hockey and basketball plays. We'll hear from Mark Borchard on baseball. We'll also talk to Jake Hahn about the NHL playoffs. We'll talk PGA. We'll talk French Open. There's a lot to get to this time of year. But we got to start with hoops. And it's just this notion that I guess you're allowed to say when you know nothing. And I'm at the point in the NBA where I can't tell you anything anymore. Going into yesterday, let's start with this. Since 1947, there have been 149 Game 7s in the NBA. There had been 149 Game 7s in the NBA headed into yesterday. And according to NBC Sports, the home team had a 112-37 record straight up in those Game 7s. That's a little more than 3 out of 4. Yesterday, 2 visitors win. It's the first time that's ever happened. 2 Game 7 road teams win on the same day. Pardon me. This is from Ben Golliver. The T-Wolves have pulled off the biggest Game 7 comeback, pardon me, in NBA history as well, erasing a 20-point third-quarter deficit to dethrone the defending champion Denver Nuggets 98-90 to reach their first Western Conference Finals since 2004. Closed the game on a 60-32 run. That is another record that was set yesterday, that erasing of a 20-point deficit in the third quarter. It's the biggest comeback from a halftime deficit into Game 7, 15 points ever as well. And really, if I came to you before the playoffs, Kelley, and I said, the Nuggets are going to have a Game 7 on their home court. They're going to be up 20 in the third quarter, and Nikola Jokic, the MVP, and his teammates are going to gack it. Could I have said anything more outlandish? Was there anything that would have been more unbelievable to you than that? And that's what went down yesterday. The Nuggets, who at that point when they led by 20 early in the third quarter, from that point forward in the third period, they went 2 of 13 from the field. After the first 3 shots they took in the third quarter, they went 2 of 13 from the field. And the rest of the game from that point, they went 12 of 36 from the field. And you just have to absolutely give it up to the Minnesota Timberwolves. And I get back to what I said a week ago, which is if the T-Wolves end up winning the NBA championship, Celtics are the short shot right now, but the T-Wolves are right after that. If they end up winning it, everyone, I'm talking about me and everybody else, who destroyed that Rudy Gobert trade. Yes, when Nikola Jokic went one-on-one with Rudy Gobert, he destroyed him. But there is a collective in basketball, and there's an alchemy to basketball. And we are all going to have to eat crow on that Gobert trade. 4 first-round picks, 1 first-round swap, 5 players. I know. On paper, everybody universally panned it. But if the T-Wolves pull this off, everybody's got to shut up. Because Tim Connolly understood it better than all of us. Tim Connolly, who built the Nuggets and who left the year before they won the championship, he understood what it would take to beat them. And flooding the zone with big men was key amongst them. And so for him, there was no price too big to pay. We'll see what happens. But what a stunning turn of events yesterday. And I wasn't going to go down a Michael Malone rabbit hole, but since he did this after the game, I figured we would.
All right, we'll get back to that.
Okay, we'll get back to that. Should I quote it without showing it? Do you want me to do that? Michael Malone, when asked about what was going down yesterday, well, let's just say...
we got it.
We got it. Here it is. Michael Malone in his own words.
Next question, man. The season's over. That's what's hard. Being up 20. The season's over. You don't understand that. The season's over. It's hard. Stupid ass questions.
Calling out reporters for stupid blank questions. This reminds me of after last year when they won the championship. I used to make fun of Michael Malone because he never seemed happy about it. He was always like, Lakers getting all this attention, we get nothing.
Yeah. That was such a thing.
It was such a thing. And he's the one that's always talking about that. And then to have the nerve to do that to reporters who's just doing their job asking questions.
Drives me insane.
By the way, that reporter, if that reporter was able to talk back to you like you're talking to them, would have said, how about adjusting to how about the fact that once the T-Wolves figured out the two-man game between Jokic and Jamal Murray, you made no adjustments whatsoever. But they didn't do that. And so because he's acting like that, I decided to do a little research. Do you know what Michael Malone, you know what the Nuggets have beaten in terms of opposing seeds in his tenure in the postseason? They've beaten a 7-6-2, 6-8, 4-7, and 8. By the way, that one anomaly in there, a 2, was in the bubble against the Clippers when they came back from a 3-1 deficit. So it's not that like they had to go to someone's home court. In this case, the Clippers' home court to do it. So the other seeds that they've beaten, throw that 2 out, 7-6, 6-8, 4-7, 8. Who have they lost to? A 3-1, 2-3, and 3. So Michael Malone, you ain't your dad. Maybe pipe it down a little bit. And I wouldn't have even gone there had he not acted this way. But when you act that way, people start to uncover stuff about you that they might not otherwise have gone into.
Yeah, it drives me nuts. It's like the questions in press conferences haven't changed in 50 years. You know that's coming after a loss. I don't understand why you have to. I don't know. I've sat in those rooms before. Somehow over the past 10 years, because it's not just him. It feels like it's other sports too. Like it's okay now for players and coaches to just blast the media for doing their jobs.
It's incredible.
I think the other part, some people, I always was reading a bunch on social media. What a stupid question, that kind of stuff. You got to understand, reporters are in that room for different reasons. Some are newspaper reporters, some are radio reporters, some are TV reporters. They're all asking questions, looking for a different type of reaction. And that right there, and why we're playing it, is because what TV and radio reporters love to ask that question to get some type of reaction.
And I'm just going to raise my hand again. I, in a million years, wouldn't have seen that coming yesterday, up 20 in the third quarter. Now, here's the way to handle a question. This is the contrast to that. These are the Minnesota Timberwolves. This is Anthony Edwards and Karl Anthony Towns after pulling off the upset.
This is for either one of you guys. And usually in NBA history, it says you have to lose and lose big before you win. What is it about this team that says
We lost last year.
Yeah, but that's different. You have to lose at a bigger stage. Usually, teams.
It's the playoffs. We lost last year.
We lost the last 2 years.
How much more we got to lose?
Yeah, how much you want us to lose?
We're losing for 20 years.
I mean, that's just the truth, dog.
We keep muting out a curse word, but that's the funniest part of the whole thing.
There's a lot of F-bombs by Ant in that press conference last night. We've been losing for 20 years.
How much do you want us to lose? He's right. How much do you want us to lose?
Oh, man.
They got over that hump. And so good for the Timberwolves. Good for every bettor who has them in a future. Good for you if you have the Mavericks like you, Kelley. Good for you.
Oh, I feel like I'm going head-to-head with the world right now. Let's go.
T-Wolves, Mavericks. T-Wolves a minus 170 series favorite. That took a little money on Minnesota here since release. You think that's about right?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that number is pretty appropriate. It was what opened minus 150, got bet up. I think I saw as high as minus 190. Mavericks money coming back in is restabilized. We're about minus 165, 170 right now most places. Yeah, 170, 180 is what you're seeing on that. Yeah, I think it's a fair price on them. If I was not involved with Mavericks futures, you'd probably be dabbling a little bit with the Timberwolves. On this side, I think they've got a slight advantage. The one thing I'll bring up though, Gill, is I kind of like the Mavericks in game one.
You do?
I do think I think if the Mavs are taking one on the road, I think after this 7-game series against Denver, you're giving, I mean, part of this is, I don't think I'd be thinking this way if Mavericks didn't close this out on Saturday night like they did, but you get some time to rest Luka up now, a few days here. Timberwolves coming off a big-time win, one of the biggest wins in franchise history, closing out Denver in 7 games. You're coming back home. I think if Mavericks are going to steal one in Minnesota, it's coming in game 1. So
Mavericks are 4-point dogs in game 1. That is on Wednesday night. Western Conference Series opens Wednesday night in Minnesota. We'll run into a break here and we'll do a baseball break, but I just want to say before we get to the Pacers and the Knicks yesterday, because the Pacers, before that happened, pull off the upset over the Knicks in Game 7. They now will take on the Boston Celtics in the Eastern Conference Finals, which begins tomorrow night. Boston is a 9.5-point favorite in Game 1, and on the series, Boston is a $9 favorite, with the Pacers just north of $6 on the comeback. I have to tell you, man, like the Pacers winning in 7 at 20-1 strikes me as the best bet on the board. Because of the way they play basketball. And this yesterday, and I know they're not going to shoot 70%. We'll get into their percentages momentarily.
Yeah.
But they have that ability, right? That was their brand earlier in the season and into the in-season tournament. And as long as you have a team like that, and we've seen Boston gack games against teams that go on fire from 3, well, it wouldn't be that big of an anomaly for the Pacers to do that more than once. And then at Game 7 in Boston, we've seen how the Celtics have performed that. I actually think the Pacers have a puncher's chance in this. I'm going to take them on the series and in games, and in 7 specifically. We'll come back more on that. Baseball next with Borchard.
A numbers game on VSiN, the sports betting network.
For a limited time only, we're offering our annual subscription at an unbeatable price. Normally priced at $240. You can now grab your subscription for just $199. Sign up today. We'll also give you an extra 2 months for free. That's 14 months of VEASAN Pro access for less than 50 cents a day when you use promo code ANG. With VEASAN Pro, you'll gain instant access to our daily best bets with the leaderboard to see which VEASAN expert has the hot hand. Betting splits to show you where the money and bets are moving for every game. Betting systems, premium analysis, 24/7 video access. It's all there. Visit VEASAN.com/subscribe today to claim your 14 months of VEASAN Pro for only $199 with promo code ANG.
ANG like a numbers game.
ANG. That's VSIN.com/subscribe. It's Gill Alexander. It's Kelley Bydlon. Mark Borchard going to join us here, talk some baseball from an undisclosed location. I did want to say one thing again about basketball before we forget about some stuff. And it'll come to me as the show goes on, too. But one, again with the Nuggets, the only thing I lost was the Nuggets to beat the Celtics in a finals exacta. It's not like I had bets left and right. But yet losing them is losing them in this postseason is so stunning to me that they would gack that game. It's incredible that happened.
I'm a little surprised at how surprised you are, because I feel like
it's the NBA Finals, right?
Yeah, no, and that's where I'm going.
I believe the Minnesota Timberwolves they should be the favorite, in my opinion, to win it all. But if you're up 20 in the third and you got Jokic, figure it out, Malone.
Yep.
But to the Pacers for a second, we'll get to Borchard, but I just want to say this about the Pacers-Knicks. Congratulations to the Pacers fans. I think it's awesome. I mean, they shot 76% in the first quarter, 78% on threes. In the first half, they shot 76.3%, 29 of 38, 66.7% for three. Through 3 quarters, they shot 70%, 57.9%.
So ridiculous.
The 101 points through 3 was the most through 3 quarters in a Game 7 since 1963 in the Celtics. And then with 9:22 left in the game, they were 45 of 63, 71.4%, and 57.9% from behind the arc. By the way, they finished with a paltry NBA playoff record, 67.1% field goal percentage. It's just incredible. 53 of 79. It's 53 of 79. Now, are they going to do that every game? No. But can ESPN, and I'm friendly with folks over there, can they do better for the Pacers? This series against the Knicks was a broadcasting embarrassment. And I am not a Stephen A. hater. I'm actually one of these people who believes give that man all the money he deserves because people actually watch the network for him. And I get it. He did the whole Knicks fan thing where it's like, New York, stand up for the whole series.
Yeah, but he's one of those guys, whether you love him or hate him, right?
But to use a Stephen A. word, how However, that whole thing yesterday where they filmed his arrival as if he was a player in the game. Here's Tyrese Halliburton. Here's OG Anunoby. Here's Stephen A. Smith. You're like, oh, my God, is this really happening? And then halftime, Pacers are crushing. First thing out of Bob Myers' mouth is not how great the Pacers were playing, but, well, OG Anunoby gave it a shot. It was only at 4.5 minutes. It's tough. And they go through. And then as the game was winding down, when it was clear that Indiana was going to just roll to victory, the broadcast crew of Mike Breen, J.J. Redick, and Doris Burke, before they got to praising the Pacers as a parenthetical aside, they eulogized the Knicks as if they're the Shaq Kobe Lakers. Well, a team that really had heart, went through a lot of injuries. Yeah, they did go through a lot of injuries. So did a lot of teams. I get it. Maybe they had a few more than others. Stop talking about them like they won multiple championships. They didn't get out of the second round. Good God, if I was a Pacers fan, I would feel so vindicated and so happy about that blowout yesterday. Do better by the Pacers moving forward. That is awful. It was awful.
All right, take it easy, Michael Malone.
Bro, because people say there's an East Coast bias. You're damn right there was an East Coast bias throughout that series. Like, leave it alone. By the way, I spared you because I know you were on air. Stephen A. did a whole pep talk thing with Spike Lee before the game. It was on and on. It was ridiculous. Anyway, thought it was terrible. Ladies and gentlemen, from an undisclosed location somewhere in the desert, it's Mark Borchard who talks of baseball at BaseWinner, BaseWinner.com, courtesy of the Progressive Guest Line. How you doing, Mark?
I'm doing good, man. I'm really enjoying this season. It's been a fun season for me.
Tell the truth. Do you have any idea those basketball games were being played yesterday?
No, I'm really lagging on it. Sometimes I'd make a bet here and there, like in previous years. I'm even getting Fezzik stuff, and I think he's doing really good. But I'm not even betting it. It's like Steve tells me to play, and I don't have the energy to log on to my account and make the bet. So
Mark is so locked in to baseball. All right, let's do this. We're 50 games into the season, roughly. Give me an awards bet that you like right now.
I was looking at a couple today, and the MVP, you look at one league would be Kyle Tucker, and I thought Kyle Tucker was really intriguing. He's at 10-1, but he's in the last 500 plate appearances, he's up there in all the standard weighted runs created plus for this year. So he's up towards the top there. But for me, I use the last 500 plate appearances and I calculate base runs off that, and he is right up there at the top. The guy who's ahead of him in the American League, two guys, Soto and Judge, but he's really close to him. He's got a 6.14 adjusted base runs created. This is adjusted for park factors, and he's just right behind Soto and Judge, and Soto's at 6.91 and Judge is at 6.71. And you got to look at kind of like the age progression of some of these players, and he's right there where the age needs to be. I also think that there's value on this Houston team in the divisional market. They're priced at like plus 200 right now, and I think that's good value. And so I think that Houston will figure it out. And I think that guy is looking pretty good in that division, or in that league rather. And then Ozuna in the National League is at 20-1, and he's really close last 500 plate appearances to Ohtani in bets. Very, within I don't know, like a quarter of a run or so, and he's kind of on the upside too. So you look at his advanced numbers. I think that's a good price in that market. I think both of those are really good price plays. In the Cy Young, I'm sorry, I'm continuing to go on here, but and Sale in the Cy Young award in the National League at 20-1. I thought that was a really good play. And the other thing that really perplexed me, and I don't know, maybe you guys can effort this, not while I'm on, but like throughout the show. Jack Flaherty, I could not find a market for him to bet in. If I could, I would bet on him. He's got the best base winner ERA in the American League, and I think that Jack Flaherty story is a really good one. I couldn't find a price on him, but if you can, I would look to Jack Flaherty for the Cy Young in the American League, Gill.
Okay, I like those. By the way, Chris Sale, I want to shout out Jason Weingarten as well, because Jason Weingarten came on here before the season started, I believe, and was like, Chris Sale, it all lines up for him this year. And I think he was, exponentially higher than he is now. So shout out to Jason on the Sale thing. But that's okay. So just to review, Kyle Tucker, 12-1, Ozuna, 40-1 in the National League. And then a shout out to Chris Sale and Jack Flaherty.
Well, 40-1. I read it wrong. I wrote it down 40-1. I thought it was 20-1.
Yeah,
20-1 would be good. Yeah, even better.
Well, at least we have that on the screen at 40-1. Double check on that.
No, it is. I wrote it down. I wrote it down from DraftKings at 40-1. I just said 20-1. Maybe that's a subconscious Freudian slip.
Again, having these Guardians bets, I can save through March and April. He was the best Atlanta Brave for sure. Ozuna was the guy you feared the most, and that has still continued here into May. What do you like on the card today?
Well, there's a couple interesting plays I do have on the card today. I'm going to go with I didn't mention Pablo Lopez. I really like him as well. And I'm going to put him in a parlay with the Braves and Chris Sale. So it's game 2 of the Braves San Diego doubleheader. It's going to be Sale versus the guy's name is Randy Vasquez. That's about what I think of him. I can't even remember the guy's name. But I've got that game priced minus 322. The market has the second game of the Atlanta doubleheader priced at minus 205. And then the Minnesota Twins game, I have that price at minus 263. It's in the market at minus 157. So I thought that was a good parlay. And then this other place, pretty interesting to me, and this is one of the things that I don't do enough, and I should do more, is make a parlay in the same game. And I was told by our friend, your friend more than mine, but definitely I would consider him a friend and a great guy, Chris Andrews. And when I worked with him over at Against the Number, he said, Mark, you got to do more of these correlated parlays within the same game. And he's right, and I need to. So for this correlated parlay within the same game, I'm going to go with St. Louis and the under there. And I really like Sonny Gray. Sonny Gray is the second best rated base winner pitcher against Dean Kramer, surprisingly in the top 50. Love both bullpens. I've got the Cardinals bullpen number 1, the Baltimore Orioles bullpen number 8. So I'm going to make a correlated parlay. St. Louis to win the game and under 9. I actually bought it up a little bit, but you can get it. St. Louis under 9. Risk 1 to win 1.83, Gill.
All right. Chrissy Anders, my mishpucha. Are you kidding me? One of the greatest human beings alive. The other thing I just want to clarify on your parlay, Twins and then the Braves with Sale in game 2. Do double headers, are they squirrely enough that you get a little...
I usually don't play them, but I just love Chris Sale so much.
Okay.
I think the Braves, either way, whatever happens, they've got a deep bullpen, too. They've got about 5 guys in that bullpen with close to a 30% strikeout rate. I think it's going to help today.
Because the lineups, as you know, can get janky, but with the Braves, how janky can they get, I guess, is part of it as well. Thank you, Mark. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
At base winner, my man. Coming back. More basketball and golf next.
A numbers game on VSiN, the sports betting network.
This segment of A Numbers Game is brought to you by Zyn Nicotine Pouches, America's #1 nicotine pouch that requires no timeouts or half times. Zyn is a smoke-free, spit-free, hassle-free nicotine pouch that can be enjoyed anywhere, anytime. It's available in 10 varieties and 2 strengths and delivers up to 1 hour of nicotine satisfaction. Find your Zyn at your local convenience store or online at Zyn.com. That's ZYN.com. Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical.
Back on A Numbers Game, live from Barcanada, the Barrage, here at the D, downtown Las Vegas, Nevada, part of the Derek Stevens empire here in downtown Las Vegas. By the way, one clarification on Mark Borchard, talking about St. Louis and correlated to the under. Remember in baseball, home teams correlate to the under because there's the possibility you will not get that second half of the 9th inning played. So generally, home teams will correlate with the under, road teams will correlate with the over, the exception with home teams, big home team favorites, not exactly a correlation to the under. Stevie Fezzik chimed in and wanted to also clarify on that. This is, we get tweets at Beating the Book, Michael Burns. I didn't have veins coming out of Gill's neck on my bingo card today. Did veins come out of my neck when I was talking about the announcing? I didn't mean to be that.
No, I don't think so.
No, I don't think so. Trust the glove. I'm sorry, but you're so correct about the announcing. I have to mute the NBA so I can enjoy the game. Tell him, Gill. Doug Tuttle. Chris Sale opened around 80-1 for Cy. Not sure if a few books floated any 100-1s. He was also 200-1 to lead in Ks. And Nathan Henry, Jack Flaherty 50-1 over at a offshore kind of place.
Yeah, I found a 60-1. Texted you and Mark.
At Advocate Duel. Advocate Skirmish.
Skirmish.
Pardon me. have a good skirmish. Real quick, because you didn't get a chance to talk about the NBA. You had some thoughts.
Oh man, I mean, just a million running through these games. I mean, Denver, Minnesota. I agree. I only brought up. I'm surprised how surprised you are, just because I think we did kind of say that end of last week.
It's the NBA Finals.
Yeah,
I think Minnesota should be the favorite.
I viewed it that way. I thought Zach Lowe. I was listening to his pod coming in, and I thought he put it really well. Where, the first half of that game yesterday was one of the best defensive halves that Denver Nuggets core had ever played, and then you flip around in the second half, and the number one defense in the NBA showed up and completely locked down Jokic and everything that Denver was trying to do. It was, one of the most impressive. When you look at Anthony Edwards, right, one of the most impressive 6 for 24 games I've ever seen in my entire life, which is what he was doing defensively and all over the place. Really looking forward to that. And then Pacers, Knicks. What can you say about the Knicks? Like, it's everybody was, the whole team was falling apart with injuries. Like, it's
right, but there was such retroactive revisionist history with, if you're listening to the announcers, go like, oh, now Jalen Brunson is out. They were already getting crushed. Stop acting like that's what did it.
Okay, I'm not going to say that's what did it.
Yeah. But I'm not saying you. I'm saying them on TV.
But watching some of that back last night, the realization, because remember there was some confusion live of why Brunson wasn't there, and they didn't have the hand. They didn't know what had gone on with that. So when I was kind of watching some of the highlights back, you realize when he broke his hand, it was only a 10-point game. Like, I'm not saying anything would have changed. Obviously, the Pacers were not going to slow down shooting. It was really tough doing a live betting show yesterday when, of course, I'm sitting here for 3 hours being like, well, the Pacers clearly are not going to keep shooting 70%. And, that once-in-a-lifetime game where they do. I'm interested to see what this Boston series looks like. I've made a couple bets. Let's see. I bet Celtics 4-1. I did bet that. I think the Pacers... look, the Celtics are at least going to screw up 1 to 2 games. That's where I think. I think a 7 games is far more likely than the Celtics sweeping the Pacers. Pacers' offense has been great end of season. Their defense is still trash in the half court, though. So Boston, if they do things right, should be able to get whatever they want. I did play a little Mavericks game 1 to win game 1, Timberwolves to win the series. At plus 520, I do have that position 8-1 on the Mavericks to win the West. So going up against that, and I laid 1.5 games with the Celtics and 1.5 games with the Timberwolves in a parlay. That was the other way I kind of played these series and kind of hedged off a little bit with what I got with the Mavs.
I'm going to take the Pacers to win the series. I'm going to take the Pacers to win in 7.
Okay, I like it.
I'm going to take a flyer on that.
I can't argue with you, man. You know how I feel. Like, Boston's got all the talent in the world. They should win the NBA Finals, but I don't trust them.
I'm just amazed more people aren't harping on that point that I'm making about the Gobert trade. Like, I'm sorry, but it's going to come to this.
No, it is. So it is. I love that you keep bringing it up because you made me think about it more last week, and it's such a good point. I do. The unfortunate part is the trade was so massive. Like, it's not over yet. Like, it's incredible what's happening.
They're not there yet.
It's incredible what the Timberwolves are doing on the court. Off the court, things are a nightmare, right? You've got a battle between ownership groups that still haven't gotten this figured out. And there's still to keep this core together, oh boy, they're going to be in luxury tax hell for the next few years, partially because of that trade. But, man, if you win a championship, it's all worth it, right?
Absolutely, because the object is to win a championship, and that's all there is. It's bottom line business. We've gone a half hour into the show. We haven't talked about the PGA golf second major of the year at Valhalla.
Incredible.
And Xander Schauffele does it. Good for him. By the way, I think Cleve TA, our buddy, speaks for lots of bettors when he tweets out. I'll paraphrase if we can't put it up there, but here it is. Xander wins because it's literally the only major in the last 5 years I didn't bet him. Big congrats to him. He deserves it. And he is, by all accounts, just a great guy. But I just want to harp on the courses. And by the way, the Scotty Scheffler thing, because we were on air Friday morning when it all went down with the Louisville police and Scotty Scheffler, it's all going to go away. You cannot convince me. Michael Montesano and I were texting about this yesterday. You cannot convince me beyond a shadow of a doubt that Scotty Scheffler would not have won this tournament had that not happened, because it took about 24 hours for it to sink in with him. I would think. So we had the bad third round, but we'll never know.
And Gill, to that point, I was incredibly impressed with what he did on Sunday.
Incredible.
Because even like that news kind of started trickling out. He was exhausted. He was dehydrated.
Eaten, but in the final round, you had 5 guys who shot either 6 under or 7 under. And if you say to Bryson DeChambeau, "Hey, Bryson, you're going to shoot 20 under at a major." Isn't that awesome? He's like, "Great, I won my second major." He goes, "Not exactly. You're going to lose." There's so many of these guys. How do you feel about a course for a major where the winner shoots 21 under?
I'm struggling with this overall issue with it because it's.
By the way, we have the Justin Ray tweet as well because he puts it in context, which is just insane.
Look, was it silly? Yeah, it's silly. Are these guys every single year bigger, stronger, better off the tee? And the one thing that no course can control is the weather. And when you get rain like that and it softens conditions, it completely changes how the course is designed to play. And greens, when you're hitting greens, they're not firm and the ball's not running off. They're sticking on the green. And one of the big parts of this golf course, the way it was designed, was to punish any wayward drives, right? But when you get rain as much as they did, you weren't getting the run out on the drive. So they're hitting fairway and staying in the fairway instead of running out into the long grass. So, I think the one thing that's beautiful about golf, I understand some people have some issue with how low all the scores were, but it's still it's a level playing. It was a level playing field for everybody. I think it's what gets tough with golf and weather sometimes for me. It's when you do have those massive wave advantages and stuff like that, which you didn't really. Everybody had the level playing.
That's a good point. Justin Ray, by the way, does great golf through the years. Justin Ray Golf on Twitter. Lowest combined score to par by field, PGA Championship history. 2024 Valhalla, minus 214. Next, 1995 Riviera, 40 over. Bellerive plus 59 over back in 2018. 214 combined strokes under par.
Yeah, wild. It's wild. So many of these guys I could talk about. I'm so happy for Sander. Like I had my top 10.
Do you know anybody who had him outright?
Not a single person. I was loaded up on him top 10, top 20. Glad those bets got home, but
I raised my hand. I'm one of these guys who made fun of Xander like he can never get it done. Good for him. Happy for him. Will I be returning to betting him outright? No, you will not.
You know I probably will, Gill, eventually, now that he's got a major win.
No.
There's another guy, Bryson DeChambeau. The roller coaster of my feelings on Bryson DeChambeau has changed so much over the years. Like, I loved him when he was first kind of coming onto the scene. Then he started to drive me nuts with the whole big driver and going to live. And yesterday, and I know we got the video of it, of him with the fan. I don't know if you caught this at all, where he tries to throw a ball to the kid, and some adult goes and grabs the ball and takes it away.
There it is.
And it's just Bryson kind of goes after the guy in the middle of his round. Get the ball back to the kid. I have so turned around and liking Bryson DeChambeau again. Loved him every post-round press conference over the weekend. He's a guy I'm rooting for.
What a small move by a full-grown male adult, by the way.
Amazing.
Yeah. We'll come back. Hockey with Jake Hahn. We're in hockey's Final Four as well, if you will. That's next.
A numbers game on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
We're close to crowning an NBA champ, and with the action heating up on the court, it's even hotter at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. New to DraftKings? Listen up. New customers get a no-sweat bet up to $1,500. Just deposit at least $5. You'll get a bonus bet back equal to your first bet if it doesn't hit. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code VSiN. The crown is yours. Gill Alexander, Kelley Bydlon, producer number 9. So much more than a producer. Before we get to Jake Hahn and hockey, can I give a shout-out to my buddy Preston Johnson? Preston Johnson, ladies and gentlemen.
Crawley Town.
Co-chairperson of Crawley. They are headed to League One, up from League Two with a 2-0 win on Sunday. And this is Paul Medina. This is a shot of Preston. Paul Medina, thank you for this. Congrats to Crawley Town and Preston on winning the championship game today and being promoted to League One. And look at the dapper Kelley Bydlon, Preston Johnson, in full coat and tie. This, by the way, this was the thing that I forgot because I was considering going, right? Jason was there. Rufus was there. I forgot. It didn't even occur to me that if I did go, I'd have to wear a coat and tie there.
You would have shown up in that shirt.
I would have shown up in a hoodie. I'd be like, oh, I'm sorry, Preston.
I saw a couple great pictures. Man. I'm so happy for all those guys. Obviously, we know them, but you know them very well. Go back forever with them, and some of those guys have been so great to us in the network and everything. But there was a great picture I saw of Preston and Rufus, the biggest hug ever.
That's so great. I was, one of the things that just. There's this Wrexham documentary, yep. Ryan Reynolds, and Wrexham went from League 3 to League 2 to League 1, but they paid, right? They paid for the best players. This is the greatest Moneyball story, and if you didn't hear Preston on the show a couple weeks ago, he had death threats. You cannot, if this was a script that was submitted to a Hollywood studio, they would reject it summarily. Crawley to win League 2 was 400 to 1 preseason in some spots. They were 3-2 to be relegated. 90% of relegation action in the betting markets was on Crawley Town.
Oh my God! Wow.
Not to mention that he had the death threats. They had 5 different coaches year 1. This is year 2. They had the biggest racism scandal in English football history with the first one. Literally 9 days into his ownership, the Football Association calls them and is like, your coach over here is a problem. I mean, the manager was under investigation. You cannot make it up. A documentary should be made about Crawley Town. It's just incredible. So congratulations to Preston Johnson, our buddy, and Jason Weingart and everybody else involved.
It's wild. So happy for those guys.
Yeah.
I feel like I know we've talked about it a million times, but all those guys are so nice. And I'll never forget DMing with Preston in 2011 over the dumbest sports betting questions, and him just taking the time to answer and stuff. Not one of the nicest guys on the planet.
Could not happen to a nicer guy. Jake Hahn's also nice. He didn't go from League 2 to League 1, but it's only for Preston. He joins us now courtesy of the Progressive Guest Line. You can follow him on Twitter, by the way, at JHahn4. That's, of course, JHAHN with the number 4 is where you can follow him. And he comes to us again, courtesy of Progressive. Jake, first of all, before we get to hockey, did you have Xander Schauffele?
I did not, guys. Sad news, but I never have Xander Schauffele, so I don't feel like I missed anything. I feel like if you're somebody that always bet Xander Schauffele, if you missed the PGA Championship win, you're feeling pretty upset today that you missed the boat on that. So I've never really been a Xander guy. I've always felt like he gets priced with guys that win a lot, right? He's usually 3rd, 4th in the odds board, something like that. And for a guy that just doesn't win a whole heck of a lot, I can never get to his price. But I found myself rooting for him late yesterday with no real horse in the race in terms of an outright ticket because he is such a consistent golfer. I think we can all agree the talent of the guy, and you kind of root for him to finally break through. So, again, never really been a Xander backer, but congrats to anybody that stuck with him for all those years. You might be at least close to even on Xander Schauffele outrights.
Yeah, I couldn't. I mean, honestly, everybody's pumped for Xander, and it's just comical that nobody ended up having him because he had absolutely crushed people through the years for those who had bet on him to win outrights. All right, you are here because, of course, you're the co-host of The Point in the Fantasy Hockey Show on Sirius XM NHL. Let's talk some hockey, where we have 5 teams left. We have 3 that have gotten through in 6-game series in the conference semifinals, but we have 1 place to be decided in the conference finals, and that is going to be determined by tonight's Game 7 in Vancouver between Edmonton and the Canucks, where the Oilers are minus 160 favorites. The Canucks of the remaining 5 teams are by far the long shot. Do you give the Canucks a shot here tonight?
Well, kind of fitting, guys, that it is a holiday here in Canada. It's Victoria Day, that the All-Canadian Series does go 7 games, right? We actually felt like for a moment we might get all 4 series to go 7. Ultimately, like you said, Gill, The other 3 series all end in 6 games. So for a moment there, we thought, man, are we really going to get a crazy second round where all 4 series get to 7? Ultimately, it's the All-Canadian Showdown. I'm just going to guess that Vancouver and Edmonton fans have already started drinking for this Game 7 because it is holiday here in Canada. So you get some pretty interesting crowd in Vancouver tonight, I think, with a lot of time to pregame for this one. I mentioned it with Kelley. I came on the live show on Sunday. I like this price for Vancouver. I just think it should be priced a little closer to a pick 'em. Can Edmonton win? Of course they can. They're a great team with high-end talent, and they probably should be a slight favorite in this game, but I can't get to minus. I see you guys have it priced at minus 166 there. To me, that's a little too steep for how close this series has been. I think it's going to come down to 1 goal. If it comes down to special teams, yeah, the edge does lie with Edmonton, but their power play has gone cold the last couple of games, and it does feel like maybe Vancouver's penalty kill has figured them out a little bit. And another thing in Game 7s, the whistles tend to go away a little bit. You really have to take a penalty to get called for 2 minutes in a Game 7 type situation. So I like Vancouver plus 140, guys. I think there's a lot of value with them as a home dog in this Game 7 tonight.
Jake, any reason to fire on that now, or should people just wait? I mean, this was what, plus 120 on Friday, plus 130 yesterday, plus 140 now?
Yeah, no, it's a great question, Kelley, because it has moved a lot more than I thought. Like I did figure that Edmonton would take some money because people want to back Connor McDavid. He's the best player in the National Hockey League. He's playing in a Game 7. These are the superstar type moments, right? Whether it's LeBron James at the peak of his career in a big game, or Patrick Mahomes, trying to go to another Super Bowl. Like, this is when star players step up, right? It's a little different in hockey. I think it's more difficult to take a game over than a quarterback or a star player in basketball. But McDavid is that good. He certainly could take this game over. But watching him, he does not look 100% through the course of this series. So I'm not going to speculate on injury, but it does look like he's kind of grinding and maybe doesn't look his dominant self. So I'm not surprised that Edmonton's taken some money. I just don't know how far that we can take this thing. I think plus 140 for Vancouver is more than enough of a fair price. If it gets even better, then sure. But I hesitate to think that this is going to get up to the minus 180 range for Edmonton. I think that would be a little crazy.
Does the absence of Brock Besser give you any pause at all?
Again, good player, and he has had his moments in this series. An unfortunate situation for Besser to have to miss this game, and I certainly wish him all the best for what he's going through. The blood clotting issue, that does sound like something quite serious and sort of came out of nowhere in this series. But I would say no. He's, again, good player. He could score goals. He's certainly in that top 6 for Vancouver on their first power play, but he's not enough to shift the line or my opinion on this game significantly enough. I still think Vancouver has the parts to get this done.
Blood clotting, no joke. Again, if you'd like to hear my blood clotting story, go to VSiN+++. We can have all of it. Retell that story again. Never been close to biting it for being a goner, for real, with blood clotting. Chris Bosh, by the way, had to end his NBA career because of a blood clotting issue. So, yeah, nothing more serious than that. Okay, let me just ask you about the series that begins tomorrow in the Eastern Conference, though. We have a series price on the Panthers at minus 150, the Rangers plus 130 on the comeback.
Rangers. I'm going to keep riding the Rangers here, guys. I have throughout the entirety of these plays. And look, Florida is a fantastic team, and so was Carolina, who the Rangers just beat, by the way, in the last round. I genuinely think those were the 3 best teams in the East, and there was a drop off to your Toronto, Boston, Tampa Bay tier of teams. So these are 2 of the 3 best teams in the East. They should be here in the conference final. For hockey fans, I think it's going to be a heck of a conference final. You've got so much talent on both sides. Each team checks every box that I look for in terms of winning at this time of the year. So you could obviously make a strong case for Florida as well, but I am going to stick with the Rangers. They've just got a little something special going on there in New York. And like I said, they check every box for me. And I just trust Igor Shesterkin the way he's playing a little bit more right now than Bobrovsky on the Panthers side. That's the deciding factor for me. And I'm getting plus money with the Rangers as well. So I'm going to continue to ride the blue shirts.
I give you credit because you're about the only one. All I hear is Panthers talk anecdotally from most. Would you take the Rangers in Game 1?
I would, yeah. I just think it's a good price, right? You're getting them around a pick 'em. I think you could actually get them as a slight dog in that game on home ice. That was an angle I played in the Carolina series, so why not run it back here in the conference final?
Last thing, hypothetical line. Stars minus 115 if they play the Oilers in the series, minus 250 if they play the Canucks. Those sound about right to you?
That Canucks line is pretty steep, but I like the Stars either way. I think the Stars are going to beat either of those teams.
I like your fealty to the Rangers, though. Thank you, Jake. Appreciate it.
Great stuff, boys. Have an awesome week.
Little tennis on the other side.